And now it's my special honor to introduce your commencement speaker, Mr. Dan Nye. As you know, Dan is a business executive with a track record of a great deal of success in the high technology industry. Prior to serving as Chief Executive Officer of LinkedIn Corporation, Dan held executive positions at software makers Intuit Incorporated and Advent Software. He had a goal of growing and successfully maturing LinkedIn as CEO, and there's a number of statistics that are in his bio that have been handed out in the program that will verify that he did exactly that, including growing sales to nearly $100 million. Very impressive threshold. Prior to joining LinkedIn, Dan served as Executive Vice President at Advent Software. He began his career in brand management at Procter & Gamble. He is a graduate of Harvard Business School and Hamilton College, and Dan lives in San Francisco with his wife and 2 daughters. So please join me in welcoming our speaker for this evening, Mr. Dan Nye.
I have to start by asking, how many of you are on LinkedIn? Dean, your graduates are ready for the world. It is a great honor to be with you today. I'd like to begin by also sharing my congratulations for all of you who've worked so hard to reach this milestone. You are wise to make this investment in yourselves, and you are among the most educated and best equipped to compete in this global workforce. I have 3 ideas I'd like to share with you tonight. The first is my optimism and excitement about the world you're about to enter. The second is advice for managing your career in an environment of rapid change. And the third are some comments about the importance of character and leadership. I'm going to start by telling you a little bit more about my background because it sets the stage for my comments. When I entered Hamilton College in 1984, I showed up on campus with a Smith Corona typewriter in the back seat and lots of whiteout. By the time I graduated, I'd replaced the typewriter with a Macintosh SE, and the typewriter was obsolete, and Smith Corona was heading into bankruptcy. When I joined Procter & Gamble in 1988, I was given a desk, a phone, and a dictaphone. I dictated memos, sent faxes, begged the typing pool to stay late to complete documents before deadlines, and raced to the bank every Friday to cash a check so that I'd have cash for the weekend. It was a paper-based, analog, non-network world. The PC era was well underway, but corporate managers were still a long way off from understanding how to use this technology to create efficiency. Senior managers bought PCs but considered them useless since they didn't know DOS commands, how to type, or how to use them to be more productive. In 1989, my brand management team acquired a monochrome IBM computer that we kept on a cart and wheeled between cubicles. It ran 3 programs: WordPerfect, Harvard Graphics, and Lotus 123. We saved documents to floppy disks and printed on a pin-feed printer located at the bottom of the car. And the only thing it was connected to was a power outlet. When I entered Harvard Business School in 1992, students were required to purchase PCs. We used them for word processing and spreadsheets only. Internal modems allowed us to send and receive faxes and dial into closed networks called Prodigy and CompuServe over painfully slow phone lines. On exam days, we had a choice to handwrite in blue books or carry our computers and printers with us to the exam room. And there's snow and ice in Boston, so that was quite a sight. Many a printer was lost. It was still a paper-based, analog, non-network world. In the spring of my first year, I attended a speech on campus that changed my life. John Scully, the CEO of Apple Computer, came to campus and he showed us the prototype of a handheld device called the Newton. He told us that we would use it to take notes, manage our calendars, and that someday we'd be able to send and receive faxes from the palm of our hand. I couldn't believe it. I felt like I was seeing the future, and I knew I wanted to go join the high-tech industry. I raced back to my apartment, and I started cold calling computer companies looking for a summer internship. It was my lucky day. After a few unsuccessful calls, I reached a marketing manager named Ben Benson at a small PC clone manufacturer called Dell Computer. I gave Ben my pitch, and he invited me to Austin for a day of interviews. And 3 days later, he offered me a job as a temp for $5 an hour. When summer arrived and my classmates headed to high-paying Wall Street and consulting jobs, I headed to Texas to work for a company with a CEO who was only 28 years old, just 1 year older than me. This was my period of enlightenment. Every employee at Dell had a desktop PC with a color monitor running Windows, and everyone had access to email. Dell's sales representatives wore headsets as they talked to customers directly, bypassing the distribution chain of resellers and retailers. Sales representatives accessed customer records from a centralized database and submitted orders directly to manufacturing. It was fast-paced, efficient, and exciting. A year later, and only a few months after graduating from HBS, I was working in Silicon Valley, and shortly thereafter, a colleague showed me the Mosaic browser, and I heard about a company called Netscape that planned to create a similar browser called Navigator. The launch of Netscape Navigator changed the world. It enabled the dot-com boom, which led to massive investment in fiber optic cable all over the globe, and shifted the information age into high gear. Over the next decade, 1 billion people logged onto the web, and tens of thousands of companies were created to build the services that we take for granted today. The network era had arrived. The ubiquity of computers, broadband access, and cell phones have enabled us to communicate, learn, share, entertain, be entertained, transact, bank, and even avoid the Department of Motor Vehicles. It's eliminated middlemen such as travel agents, brokers, salespeople, bank tellers, music retailers, newsstands, and many, many more. It's created millions of jobs, made millions of jobs obsolete, and moved millions of jobs to remote locations. It's accelerated the pace of business and changed society forever. Yet the information age, while it's here, it is still in its infancy. Think about it. High-speed internet access, the World Wide Web, smartphones, GPS devices, open source software, nanotechnologies, high-definition television, flat panel screens are all less than 15 years old. Corporations, governments, and venture capitalists are continuing to invest hundreds of billions of dollars to seize the opportunities that are still available. These investments are improving products and services, making organizations more efficient, reducing carbon emissions, advancing healthcare, and increasing our understanding of what's possible. While the economic crisis is real, so are these investments, creating changes over the next decade that will dwarf those that we've seen to date. This will create extraordinary opportunities for you to change the world, build value, and enjoy a fulfilling career. To illustrate the point, let's look at the World Wide Web. The dot-com boom occurred in the late 90s, and the bust occurred earlier this decade. Just as the dust settled from the bust and it became clear who the winners and losers were, along came Google, Skype, Salesforce, Baidu, YouTube, Tencent, MySpace, Facebook, LinkedIn, Dig, Kayak, and Twitter, and so many more. They've all reshaped the landscape and created challenges and opportunities for the incumbents. Corporate incumbents like Amazon and Apple adapted and thrived in this new environment, while we've seen others such as AOL, Yahoo, and eBay struggling to transform themselves and stay relevant. This history of creative destruction is nothing new, but the pace at which it is occurring is truly extraordinary. In fact, the pace at which it is occurring in all industries is extraordinary. Nearly every major industry is experiencing massive structural change. Media, music, newspapers, finance, travel, automotive, healthcare, telecommunications, life sciences, and education, and so many more. Technology is enabling this change, but so are other powerful forces such as globalization, governmental policies, the economic downturn, shifting demographics, societal pressure, and the reality of global warming. It's not a U.S. phenomenon. It's happening all over the world, where progressive corporations and entrepreneurs are seizing the opportunities to build enormous values and take advantage of these trends. Let's take a look at a few examples of some major trends that are transforming the world. By 2020, the world's population will swell by another 1.5 billion to over 8 billion people. Most of that growth will be coming in underdeveloped countries. The number of people with access to the internet will grow by more than 1 billion, with most of that growth coming in Asia, Latin America, and Africa. China and India's combined economies will generate more than $15 trillion and equal that of the United States. By 2040, the world's temperature is expected to rise by about 2 degrees Celsius, creating changes in weather patterns and raising the ocean levels by about 1 meter. In the United States, 78 million baby boomers will transition into retirement. While some of these trends are unsettling, they all create opportunities for corporations and entrepreneurs. All of you will be affected by the change. Surely, you will be participants, but most importantly, you will be the leaders who build and transform organizations to seize the opportunities they create. It's fun, it's exciting, and it's yours. No graduating class has ever had more opportunity to improve the world and build enormous value the way you will. But this gets me to my second point, and it's about managing your career. There are a few key ideas here. The most important is to recognize that we're living in a world of rapid and accelerating change. Change can be frightening because it creates uncertainty and risk, but the fact remains that change happens whether you like it or not. You have a choice. You can play offense or you can play defense. You can embrace it by taking action, or you can wait for it to come to you and see if you're capable of adapting. Which do you think is more fun? Which do you think is more rewarding? I'll leave that for you to decide. Assuming you would choose to embrace change, I will give you some suggestions. You must have the courage to take risks and the desire to continually learn and challenge yourself. I encourage you to make career choices by determining which opportunities fuel your passion and provide the greatest learning experience instead of the one that's the most prestigious, lucrative, or secure. Look for opportunities to learn about foreign cultures, new technologies, and developing markets. Take classes to broaden and strengthen your skills. Ask your employer for assignments that are off the proven path. The more you experience and deal with uncertainty, the more you will become able to manage it. What's more, you may even find that these diverse experiences provide enjoyment you didn't expect and enable others to view you in a new light. As I reflect on my career, I can think of many pivotal decisions that required personal risk-taking. These were the decisions to leave Procter & Gamble to attend Harvard Business School, intern at Dell despite being loaded with school debt, move 3,000 miles from home to work in Silicon Valley, travel the globe managing Intuit's international business, and accept an offer to run an internet startup. All of these experiences enriched my life, strengthened my skills, and prepared me for the next challenge. The second idea about managing your career is that you are in the free agent economy and you are a brand. The paternalistic era of the last century is long gone. Companies expand and contract their workforces with great flexibility. This can feel cold and cruel at times, but there's an upside. It creates opportunities for those of you with the confidence and willingness to take calculated risk. The data indicate that you will leave your employer at some point in your career. In fact, most of you will leave 5 employers before you retire. As free agents, you are employed by others, but you work for yourself. You sell your time, commitment, and energy to employers who fuel your passion, treat you well, and invest in your development. If you aren't fulfilled, you're not trapped. You have the freedom to move, and in some parts of the country, of the world, there's a negative stigma associated with leaving your employer, joining a startup, or starting a company. Unfortunately, that's not the case in the United States. You are in control of your life and your career. You don't need to settle for the status quo and rationalize your life away. So what are the implications of all this? It's quite simple. You make yourself most valuable by consistently delivering great results for your current employer, building a reputation as a strong critical thinker with high ethical standards, and building strong relationships with colleagues and mentors who can contribute to your development and create opportunities for you. Expanding companies will want you, and your current employer won't want to lose you. But there's one more thing that's important, and that's that employers need to know you exist. That's where the internet comes in. Most recruiters and hiring managers turn to the internet to find the talent they seek. The people they are most interested in are gainfully employed and not actively looking to switch. That's why tools like LinkedIn are so powerful. They let you share your skills, experience, and interests with others while helping you discover companies, people, and opportunities that make you better at what you do. All of this creates efficiency. It enables talent to find opportunity and opportunity to find talent. My third message is about character, your moral and ethical qualities. There's nothing new about it. It's been important for centuries, and it's important today. I'm not talking about the character shortcomings that are so obvious when we read about Madoff, Enron, and WorldCom. I'm talking about the core values that drive your decision-making and define you. For example, are you the person who jumps ship when the company heads into the downturn, or the one who recommits until it's back on track? Are you the one who withholds information to enhance your power, or the one who shares it freely in search of the best idea? Is your career about getting rich or building enduring value that makes a real difference in people's lives? Do you blame others and take the credit, or take the blame and share the credit? Do your behaviors change with the political winds, or do your actions consistently follow your convictions? This is what character is all about. It may sound trite, but it's not. It may sound like common sense, but I assure you it's not that common. Character is authenticity, integrity, and consistency. It's about having the humility to be self-critical, listen with the intent to learn, and displaying the courage to take action. Character is about commitment, high standards, humility, accountability, and always striving to do the right thing. Throughout your career, you'll see leaders with great character, but you'll see many more who fall short. Study them all. Define your own values and live by them. Those of you who set high standards will be rewarded. It'll become clear that you are playing the game at a higher moral and ethical level. The best people will want to work for you, and the results will follow. This will enhance your performance and strengthen your personal brand. Most importantly, you'll feel good about yourself. You'll know who you are and what you're about. If you remain true to yourself, you will always be proud, regardless of the outcome. And this is particularly important since the outcomes aren't always what you want. In closing, I want to emphasize that the world needs you today. We need you to solve the massive political, social, and economic challenges that are so serious and will take years to resolve. We need you to develop the skills to transform organizations and build the businesses that will employ millions. We need you to run the philanthropies, institutions, and governmental agencies that educate our youth, improve the lives of our citizens, protect the environment, and strengthen our national security. Yes, I know the current economic conditions are tough. If you're graduating without a job lined up, it's okay. It may take a little more time to find the first job, and the first one might not turn out to be ideal, but you'll find employment that's worthy of your talents. Soon enough, you'll be dealing with the pressures of employment. You'll develop skills, establish new relationships, and build a track record of success. Over time, opportunities will arise. Most of those opportunities you cannot see or imagine today, but they will be there because the world needs you. Doors open and new adventures begin. It's an exciting time, it's challenging, it's rewarding, and it's yours. Congratulations, I wish you all very well.
Thanks, Dan, for those comments. A lot of great food for thought for all of us here today, especially the